Hello, my friends. Wes Gow here with Cardinal Coaching Solutions podcast, coming to you here in December, mid-December. Wow, that's hard to believe. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, wherever you're tuning in from. I'm coming to you, not that you can see it, but I was going to say I'm coming to you from the den here. And I've got my buddy Captain walking around. He's our pup. You might hear him. He's curious about this whole operation here. So he's got to, someone's got to supervise. So anyway, like I said, hope you're doing well. I got a lot to get to, a lot to catch up on, and a lot of just learning to share with you. First of all, I had an opportunity come up in my day job. And if you've been a listener for a while, you know that I work a day job full-time as an embedded coach in a company that I really enjoy. And let's see, I had an opportunity come up for a move, and I'm going to be pretty light on the details here and more focused on the learning. And it was a roller coaster around this move for me. I had a lot to consider, responsibilities, family, commitments. I had a lot to consider. And the whole process from kind of being made aware of the opportunity to accepting it probably took about a month. And in between that time, wow, there were some things that I learned. First of all, who's in the room and what's in the room? Yeah, that was a big one for me. When I was considering the opportunity, I was initially focused on what is in this next room, this next step for me. What's in there? What's the role? What are the responsibilities? What's the commitment? What are the tasks? What are the deliverables? Everything was centered around what is in the room. And that really was the priority of my focus. And it wasn't until much later that I came to realize, wait. Who is in that room? And some of you have already been through something like this, and maybe you're way ahead of me on this, but that was a huge realization. And not only who is in that room, but who will I be leaving behind in my current room? That awareness was really enlightening. It gave me a lot more to consider. And in fact, it became just as much, if not more so, important for me to consider. The who became more important for me than the what. So, something to think about. If you're looking at opportunities in front of you, it might be helpful, or at least I found it helpful, to consider both the who and the what. All right, next thing. Oh, the power, the unbelievable power of assumptions and ego. Hoo-wee. Whoa. Again, I'm going to be light on the details, but as I'm going through this process, as I'm speaking with HR and management, oh my goodness, did I come to realize that I was making some critical assumptions, and my ego was, it was driving the bus. It was jamming it had chosen the music, the direction, both hands on the wheel. My more mature self, I don't know, it probably got run over by the ego. That was a huge realization for me. I had been making some assumptions, and my ego was firmly in control of the situation. Now, through several different conversations, again, I'm being light on the details of how this went down for obvious reasons, but it took me doing a lot of legwork and going to have several phone calls with current and former colleagues and realizing this landscape, this prism that I had been viewing this whole opportunity through, it's covered in assumptions. And my ego has been all over this. So once I got new awareness, once I had my assumptions called out, brought to my awareness, once I became aware of how firmly my ego was in control of this, let's call it my more mature self, my true self, got the opportunity to look at who's in the room, what's in the room, how does this impact my career at this current stage, how does this impact my family, and I got to make a much more holistic decision. And it was the right decision. I felt very strongly, very quickly, once I became aware of assumptions and ego, yeah, that's the right decision. That's the next step I'm going to take in this process. So the power of assumptions and ego, if you're finding yourself stuck, hung up, frustrated, something isn't right, something's out of sorts, it can always be worth asking, hold on, what assumptions am I making about this right now? What assumptions might I be making about this right now? And then check in as you notice yourself talking out loud about the details of whatever it is. Maybe you're driving in the car and you're ruminating, you're going over, you're making your case about something to no one in particular because no one's in the cars listening with you. Check in on who is having that conversation. Who is the one speaking? Is that ego? Is that ego with the microphone right now? I deserve. Yeah. That's not to say that ego doesn't have a place. That's another conversation. I do believe ego has a place and can be valuable. But, when ego has the microphone, the car keys, the steering wheel, the compass, that I have hesitated, at least me personally, that I have learned to have hesitations around. So one final point here of learning, and this is just kind of this is feeling like a casserole episode, a Christmas casserole episode. You know, the casseroles your grandma makes or your aunt makes. God knows what's in those things, but hopefully they're good. On the subject of assumptions, I wanted to share something just very recently. You know, here we are in mid-December, and at least where I am in my tribe, my community, my part of the world, bugs of all kinds and shapes and sizes are flourishing. I couldn't throw a stone in any direction in my community and not hit someone who's out sick with something. Yeah, a lot's going around. I'm off of 2 weeks under the weather, and I feels like I've got something new that's moved into my throat. My kid spent yesterday out sick and last Friday out sick. Multiple colleagues. It's going around. And on top of that, here we are in mid-December, at least here in the mid-Atlantic, it's been really gray. It's dark. It's cold. It's been it feels like to me anyway, more gray than sunshine. And I'm super solar powered. If I don't see the sun in like a couple days, it's not helpful. So anyway, my wife and I last night were reflecting after a long day of adjusting our schedules because, like I said, we had a child out sick. We both just kind of reflected like, boy, it does not feel like Christmas. And I even added to that and said, yeah, I feel like I have had very little to no joy recently. And we just kind of let that be, just kind of acknowledging, yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. And then this morning, while the family was sleeping, I'm up early, having my coffee, journaling before I head out to the gym. And I thought, wait a minute. Maybe I've been assuming that those comments I made about not much joy, it's dark, cold, It doesn't feel like Christmas. Maybe I've been assuming that's a bad thing. And I just had this interesting, I don't know what you would call it, moment of gratefulness of just turning my paradigm on its head and going, wait a minute, maybe the way I feel, the way we described last night, maybe that all belongs. Maybe that is a part of Christmas. Because here we are adorning our houses with lights inside and out in the darkest time of the year. Yeah, maybe this is the time of year where as I'm taking my trash out at night, I see lights of all colors that I don't ever see any other time of year. And it's okay if there's moments in the season that it just feels gray, it feels dark. Maybe it doesn't feel like Christmas, but you know what? Maybe that's a part of the season too. And maybe I get to see lights this time of year that I don't see any other time of year because I need to see that. So I hope that's helpful for you. Always worth challenging assumptions. What perspective might I be having about this that, if I just turned it upside down, how would that change my thinking? And that's what came to me about, my own reflections on Christmas this time of year. Hope you're well. Wishing you health and joy and perspectives and a wonderful holiday season. We'll do this again soon.